Salutation and welcome to Tishana's Kitchen, where every day is a new day, and today is Breadstick Day. So what we're going to do is get started on the best breadsticks that I have found, hands down, and we're going to get started right away. I've already warmed up 1 cup of water. You want to be between 100 and 110 degrees. And we are sitting at 106, so we're just going to go ahead and get started. You're going to need 1 packet of the instant yeast, and you're going to mix it into that warm water. So I'm just going to go ahead and get that in there. And I have a small whisk. And with that, you're going to add in 2 tablespoons of sugar, granulated sugar. I'm just going to go ahead. There's 1 and 2. Set that down. I'm going to give it a little swirl. Make sure that all of the yeast is off the side wall. And now I'm just going to go ahead and leave that alone. I'm going to set my timer for 10 minutes. Some people do 5. I like to go with 10 minutes. We're going to give this an opportunity to get a little bit discolored and frothy looking. It almost looks like a powdered or an instant milk when you add water to it. And we're going to keep on moving forward. So we're going to set our mix aside. Now, while that's sitting for 10 minutes, you're going to want to go ahead and melt yourself 3 tablespoons of butter or margarine. You could also use oil, but I have found that in the breadsticks, the butter actually brings out a better taste. The next thing that you're going to do is you can either choose to use a scale or not. I'm actually going to use my scale today, so I'm going to already have the bowl on. I like to use my my sieve and sift my flour. So I'm going to turn it on with that attachment sitting on top, zero it out. Now I'm going to go ahead and do 2 cups of flour. There's 1. You might notice all my flour, sugar, and my Himalayan salt are in jars. I prefer to keep it that way. Keeps it fresher and pet resistant. Now you're actually going to have 2.5 cups of flour total, but when you start this, you're going to only want to have 2 cups sifted. Put that back. Add that. And real quick, I'm double checking. It's going to be 180 grams total. Sift. And that's with the other 1/2 cup. So when you get to the bottom here, and this says I'm at 175 grams. I'm going to go ahead and add in my teaspoon of Himalayan salt. And a teaspoon. Fortunately, this is a very forgiving recipe, so I'm not going to worry about the fact that my grams already say I'm at 181, and I've just put in that salt and flour together. So the next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to just go ahead and turn that off. Put my scale back. Today we're going to be using the actual the hook for the KitchenAid because it's really hard for me to keep on kneading that dough till the right consistency. I know that I still have 7 more minutes on the yeast and such, so what I'm going to do is I'm just going to go ahead and put my flour and my salt into my KitchenAid. And I'm going to set that down. to go ahead and pre-sift that other half a cup of flour. So once again, I will have 2.5 cups of flour. I'm not worried about the grams. I thought I was going to help everybody out and tell you both, but I guess I'm learning. Even though I do sift it, I always have just used my measuring cup and sifted the amount. I never actually weighed to see what it was. My husband just got me this new scale, so I thought I'd try it out today, and we're just going to go with what you know. So I'm going to go ahead and give this another 6 minutes, and then I will get right back to you. All right, so we are a little over halfway through, and the yeast is starting to get a little bit frothy and bubbly. You can't really see, but you can see there's actually just a little bit of layer. When I move the mixture back, you can see how a little bit is stuck, like it would as if it was a milk in your glass. So I've set aside the other ingredients that we're no longer going to need, other than that half a cup of flour and the salt. Now, next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to take some regular old Crisco, and I'm going to take a bowl that I have that has a lid. I prefer a glass bowl. It's easier for me to hang on to. I'm going to start in the middle and just roll around, and I am going to grease my bowl, because after my mixture is ready, kneading, we are going to go ahead and let that rest in this bowl. So I like to be prepared and have it ready to go so that we're not looking for the bowl and the Crisco when it's sitting here and ready to go. So what's going to happen next is, this is looking pretty good. It says we have about 3 more minutes on the timer. What I'm going to do when the timer goes off is I'll give it a little whisk, and then I'm going to start up the mixer and blend the 2 cups of flour with the yeast. The yeast, the water, and the sugar. Then I'm going to put it into the KitchenAid and let it mix for about 1 minute, maybe a minute and a half. And then after that point, along with the butter, by the way. And then after a minute of that mixing, I'm going to go ahead and add in the other half a cup of flour along with the teaspoon of Himalayan salt. Then we're going to let that mix for 6 minutes. I'll come back, let you see what that looks like, how it's going to pull off of our mixer bowl. Not the bowl. The attachment, how it's going to come off of the attachment when it's ready, and then we'll transfer into this bowl with the lid, and we'll let it rise for 45 minutes. You can either put it in your oven with the light on, or if your house is really warm, which mine is, I have a heater on in the kitchen warming it up this morning so that heat rises. So I'm going to put my bread up high, and then in 45 minutes I'll pull it out and punch it down, and we'll go from there. But for now, this timer is actually about to go off. So we're just going to go ahead and keep on going. Okay, I've mixed it up, and yes, it's a little bit frothy. I don't know if you can see that, kind of, a little bit. It's got a dark colored apron, so I can kind of show the contrast in colors when we got that. All right, so you can see that. We're going to go ahead and just pour that in. Get all that yeast goodness out of there, the yummy goodness. What makes it rise in there. All right, we're going to go ahead and add in the 3 tablespoons of butter, melted butter, remember. I'm going to turn that on. I'll be right back to you in 1 minute. All right, we're going to go ahead and get that last half a cup of flour added in with that teaspoon of Himalayan pink Himalayan salt. And then I'm keeping my little spatula. So in the next 6 minutes, I'm going to set my timer. I'm going to mix this around, but before I start, I'm going to blend this down, because I noticed before I even put the half a cup in there, it wasn't all blended. And the whole point is using all of the ingredients in the mix. So we're going to go ahead, make sure it's all down, wipe off the attachment, and I'll be back in 6 minutes. Okay, the timer's going off. Still going off. It's been 6 minutes. We're going to take a peek at how our dough is doing here. And we're going to turn you a little bit. I'm going to just go ahead and lift up. Now, alright, this is what it looks like as it's coming off. See how it's really sticky and it's still sticking to my finger pretty good? That means it's not quite ready. The gluten hasn't had the opportunity to finish up. We are getting pretty close though. It's pretty tacky. So I'm probably just going to give it a couple more minutes and then I'll let you see that one again. Okay, it's been 6 minutes and the timer's going off. We'll turn that off. I'm going to go ahead and turn off the mixer. I'm going to lift up so you can see what the dough looks like. It's nicely falling off. See how it just kind of takes its time. So when I touch it, it's a little bit sticky, but it's not like all sticking to my fingers. So I'm going to go ahead and see what it looks like if I pull it down. So as I bring it down, is it only sticking to me or is it ready to just kind of slowly fall off on its own here? Yep, it's going in. All right, we're going to call that good. Ugh. Always sticks. This bowl is pretty good at getting one over on me. All right, we're going to go ahead, take that greased bowl that we have. I'm going to kind of use my fingers and just scoop around so it's following itself. I'm not really trying to put my hand completely on it. I'm just trying to let help gravity along here. And I am in the way. Woo! We almost put it all over. Alright, here we go. Just a nice little knead that can kind of come out on its own. Alright. Quick little finish up here. Get that last little piece. Alright, now I'm just going to take and roll my hand so it kind of forms a little ball, in the bottom of my bowl. And help get some of that tackiness off my fingers by kind of rolling it towards a ball in the bowl. Alright, here we go. There's our dough. Put the lid on. And I'm going to set it in the oven. Put my timer on 45 minutes. And then we'll come back and take a look and make sure that it has kind of close to doubled in size. And then we'll punch it down and get ready to roll them out so we can put them in the oven. In the meantime, I'm going to go ahead and get my bowl cleaned up and myself as well, and then get this area ready to be floured. Well, not quite yet. I got 45 minutes till I need to do that. But I'm going to get my kitchen cleaned up from the rest of the mess real quick, and I will get back and show you how they're looking. Alright, timer's going off. I'm going to go ahead and take a look at our dough. It has most certainly doubled in size. So I have a pizza cutter, I have flour down on my countertop, and then over here I have a parchment paper lined cookie sheet that has a little bit of an edge on it. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to punch down my dough. Get a little flour on my hand first. Punch it down. Kind of spin it around. And I'm going to put it right out on there. When this is done, set it aside. I'm going to go ahead and flour up my hands a little bit. Turn this over a couple of different times onto the floured area so that it is actually getting some flour. Now some of you might already have like a pastry knife or has straight edge cut. You can go ahead and use that. I'm just going to use this today, so I kind of have a semi-awkward rectangle-ish. What I'm going to do is we're going to want to have about 12 out of this recipe, so I'm going to cut straight down the middle, holding on to my edge and just keeping on going all the way through. And then I'm barely going to separate it just so they don't come back together. Put a little bit more flour on the edge, and then I'm going to cut that in half on each side again. That's just going to help me come up with a little bit more equal size dough. So once again, I'm going to cut that half in half. One cut. Same and same. Alright, apparently my neighbor is home, so the dogs were letting us know that I am back. So like I had said, I had cut them and I have 8 so far. And I kind of like the size of these, so I'm wondering if I really want to make 12 or if I just want to go with my 8 today. I'm going to go ahead and set them aside here on the top. And I'm going to take the smallest one and just kind of roll it. Gravity works really well, so if you take your piece and you stick it in your hand from the top of your finger where your down to where your palm is, and you kind of roll and you kind of let it slide in your hand and go down, gravity will actually kind of pull it down and it elongates it just a hair. Once you get a start on it, you can lay it down and just roll it out. Alright, I'm taking off my ring. Apparently that's not that. We're looking for anywhere from an 8 or a 9-inch section. Some people want to just put it so it reaches all the way across. Leave a half a finger or 2 fingers in between, but they will swell up a little bit in size. I like to start in the middle and just run my hand down across it, and then pushing my edges together just on the end because I want them to be about the same size. I have another one that's a smaller one. And top to bottom, just kind of let it roll down. Once it gets a start, set it on the counter, roll from the middle to the outward edge. Nothing is perfect. It doesn't have to be perfectly cylindrical. It can look like a snake that just ate or a snake that needs to eat. Push my flour back up around where the cut edge, it might be a little sticky. We're rolling, letting gravity work, comes in. Alright, I'm going to go ahead and roll the rest of these out. I'll let you see what that looks like as soon as I get them ready. Alright, I went ahead and went with the 8 breadsticks because I know we like to eat them, and I kind of like having them as close as I can to the length of the pan. A couple are shorter ones. It's actually saved for the dogs, believe it or not, because they always get at least a breadstick because they love mommy's yummy treats. So they will have a breadstick. And so I'm going to cover that and let it rise for 30 minutes. Come back in 30 minutes. And I will let you see what it looks like, and the oven will then be preheated already at 400 degrees. So they need to rise 30 minutes. Set the timer. Turn on the oven to 400. And I'll let you see when they come in and go out. All right, timer is going off again. Take time to take a look. See how we did. Oh, they look beautiful. All right, so they definitely have grown in size. I'm gonna go ahead and stick them in the oven for 15 to 17 minutes, again on preheated for 400. While it was rising that last 30 minutes, I had that oven on. Having them sit up there really helped it rise up. We're gonna go ahead and put them in. I'm a less than more kind of person when it comes to the timer. So we're going to go ahead and start with 14 minutes because I can always add time, but I can't pull it off. So I'll go ahead and get that going. I'm going to get set up to make the butter to go on top, which will be a garlic butter spread. And I'll get right back to you and show you what that's going to look like and how I'm going to put that together before they come out of the oven. All right, welcome back. Ready to get started with the garlic butter spread. And here I have the garlic, here I actually have minced garlic out of the fridge. And over here I have butter that I have already melted in the microwave, And then here I have some home herbs that I dehydrated. I have basil, thyme, oregano, some onion, and also to that I added 1 teaspoon of a French fry seasoning mix, so it's a little bit of salt. And other than that, and my smoked paprika, the rest are from my own garden. So with my butter, I'm going to go in and I'm going to put in 1 teaspoon of my home dried herbs along with the fry. That goes on the garlic, my bad. And then, that was kind of silly. And then I'm going to add in a heaping teaspoon of fresh minced garlic because we like garlic. Garlic sticks. Now, set that down. I'm going to go ahead and just kind of mix it into my butter. You can choose to use butter or margarine, or you can use a healthy, balanced vegan butter. As well as a freeze-dried butter that you rehydrate. I have found that regular butter, salted butter, is the best. For me, but everybody has their own opinion on what they'd like to use. Alright, so I've gone ahead and mixed that up. It looks like I have about 2 minutes on the timer. I do have my butter completely stirred up and ready to go. So I just wanted you to see that this was the only other ingredient that was added to this, and that this is a wet and dry ingredient that stays in the fridge. This also has, I'm not sure if I mentioned, but it has onion powder, that I dehydrated, as well as garlic powder in it as well, even though I'm adding this minced garlic. Oh, the breadsticks look beautiful. I'm going to go ahead and turn off that timer. Oh, look at those breadsticks. Ooh, they are beautiful. They are the color of a breadstick that comes from the initials PH. Pizza. Alright, so I'm going to go ahead and just take my little mixture. Turn off my oven, actually. And start at one end, work my way. Oh, these look like they are going to need to be held. Always when you're trying to be clean. Best laid plans. Alright, so we're going to try that one more time. Hold on to it. Let that butter get nice and mixed in. Grab the next one. The butter don't look quite so melted now. It's been a few minutes. However, it's going to be just beautiful. That was really good time. Alright. Oh, that looks beautiful. And it's okay if they stick together a little bit. When you're getting your butter put on, your butter is going to melt down into those cracks, and it's going to kind of hold up some of the actual raw garlic that we put on there. Now, I know not everybody's going to want to use that raw minced garlic, but like I said, we really like garlic. And it's going to set up. You can just go with the garlic powder or the minced dried powder. And if you get it in these cracks, nice and good, once you do that, you'll be able to literally slide them apart. I know I didn't seem like sliding, but it is. I'm not actually pulling them. I am pulling, but I mean, I'm not forcing, is what I should have said. All right, so we're gonna, I keep thinking that's a spoon in my hand over here. This is what I'm trying to do. And it's getting a lot and goobing up the tops. I know it's going to just go right down because gravity does work. I'm sure you got some on my last one. We are going to enjoy, we're actually going to try one of these out real quick. And then once it cools here in a minute, my husband and I are going to try one. And then the rest we will be having with our dinner, which we are going to be having homemade spaghetti and meatballs, and we'll be trying my homemade pasta sauce that I canned. So I'm pretty excited to see how that turns out, and I'll let you know. So here is our beautiful end product so far. This is a choice you may choose or not choose. I like to add a little bit of smoked paprika. So I like to test first on my hand so I can see how quickly they're coming out. And I just do it up high, ooh, not that high, up high little shimmy across the top. Just for a little added taste and experience in your mouth. So there we go. Once again, they are all done. Here's what they look like on the bottom. Here's what they look like on the top. I hope you enjoy. Let's see. Still hot. Mm. They have a nice crunchy outside, but it's super soft inside. Nice and squishy. Bounces back. Seriously, reminds me just of the old school 80s and 90s Pizza Hut breadsticks. I hope you enjoyed this. Give it a try. Let me know what you think if you do try it out, and have a great day. Thank you.